case you don't know who Tim Thurley is, he's an academic that is up in Northwest Territories. He's a researcher and who apparently got interested in the gun file because, you know, it is an interesting file because it seems so controversial when you have one set of facts that exist. Either something's true or it's not, right? So, but somehow it's controversial. So he got into it, and he's been recently providing his opinion for the benefit of government committees and the public at large. And he had an interesting tweet that he sent out. Do you have it with you?
I do, actually. I've got it right here. So this was Tim quote tweeting the CSAAA, who had pointed out that armalytics.ca has indicated that there have been a number of firearms newly added to that prohibited list from the May 2020 OIC. So he comes up with a really good point here. He says, it's questionable how the government could actualize a fixed period confiscation program if variants of the 2020 OIC's prohibited firearms are still being discovered by the CFP nearly 4 years later. The program and the amnesty would need to run indefinitely. And he's right. So what that means is, you know, let's say, look down the road 5 or 10 years. Unfortunately, if we were still under Liberal reign and they've completed the confiscation program, they've rounded up all our guns, taken them off to the smelter, and the amnesty, of course, would have long run out, and it's a done deal. Well, they keep finding firearms that they're able to stick under these, you know, under the measurements of the 2020 OIC, ban them, not tell anybody, not announce it anywhere. So what would happen to something that they add 9 or 10 years from now under that same OIC?
Without an amnesty.
The amnesty would literally, he's right. It would have to run in perpetuity, or you'd end up getting caught with something that was added 9 or 10 years from now.
Yeah, it's an interesting thought. I mean, it's if you look at the most recent prohibition by the Firearms Lab, is a 100-and-something-year-old rifle. I think it's called the 84, I would imagine 1884, but 84 Pennsylvania rifle. And it's a muzzleloader. Yeah. And it's not it's not out of the realm of possibility that some 90-year-old guy up in northern Manitoba would have that, you know, sitting over his fireplace and, you know, has a house fire or whatever. The police respond. They're like, oh, look at this gun. Let's look it up. Oh, my God, there's a prohibit. Basically, it's a machine gun, right, in the eyes of the law. And now this guy's facing charges. He gets arrested. He has to get a lawyer and go through the process probably for 6 months before they get to the point where the Crown in that province goes, it's not within the public's interest to prosecute, Mr. Schmelter, as you call the smelter, but Schmelter. But, you know, we're going to let him go because this is ridiculous. But it's just, you know, it's just amazing to me how that's lost on anti-gunners and the bureaucracies and the RCMP Firearms Lab and the Liberals and the NDP and the Bloc and the Greens for their part in it. It's just none of this stuff seems to make any sense to them. And they can't seem to— They don't care. It's weird. They can't square that circle. They can't say, well, it's all about public— They say, oh, it's all about public safety. And it's like, well, is it? Let me paint the scenario for you. Look what just happened. And there's like silence, right? It's just crickets. It's just very interesting to me.
Oh, yeah. Like, do we all feel safer? You know, have the shootings in downtown Toronto stopped? I mean, it's just— it's so ridiculous and stupid and poorly thought out and poorly executed. And yeah, it's just going to be one big mess.
Remember, if you don't stand up for your own ability to own and use firearms, who will? Join the CCFR or donate right now at www.firearmrights.ca.